Hello and welcome to Tuesday Cinema, a garage to home cinema conversion. We're currently running a 7.4.4 Atmos and DTS X system. The room measures around 2.2 meters in width by about 4.5 meters in length. Our viewing position is around 3 meters from the screen on these two-seater recliners. These next couple of photos show how the room began as a standard single garage and how that then moved on to the room that we have before us now. So being quite a creative person, I made some scale drawings of the room, not only to help myself with positioning of speakers and other objects, but also to help with the building process as this was converted from a garage to a cinema room. To comply with UK building regulations, we had builders come in and replace the roof and then start on the internals of the room, including new floor and stud walls. They worked to my plans and kept the 1.5 metres of space at the back of the room, which then became the utility cupboard. As well as housing the washing machine and tumble dryer, it was also the home for our AV equipment and for the projector. Once the plastering was done, the builders were free to go and I took over then as a DIY project for the rest of the internals of the cinema room. I built these doors/acoustic panels to help cover up the consumer unit and also to give us some Blu-ray storage behind the doors. So in terms of the audio system, the main speakers in this room are Bowers & Wilkins. The front towers that you see here are the 684s, and the centre channel is the HTM62. Unfortunately, the HTM62 doesn't have the same mid-range driver as the 684s. Looking back, I would have done that differently, but I'll work with what I've got. The subwoofers at the front of the room here are from Swedish brand XTZ or Ecstasy, and these are the 12.17 models. These are 12-inch drivers with a 400 watt RMS amplifier per unit, and these can be ported or sealed depending on how you configure the front mounted ports. With the grills removed, you can see B&W's instantly recognisable yellow woven Kevlar drivers. For the side surround channels, we're using the Bowers & Wilkins DS3, which are actually a dipole design, but as we're running Atmos, we're running these in monopole mode. You'll see from the room, it's not the biggest room in the world. It's not that easy to move around past some of these speakers, but as I say, we really make the most of the space that we have. At the far end of the room we have our surround back speakers, which are a pair of Bowers & Wilkins M1 in black. You may have noticed throughout the room that we have some low cost acoustic treatment. These are the EQ Acoustics foam tiles, and although they don't cost a lot of money, they have made a lot of difference in our room. Although it's not overly easy to pick this up on camera, the ceiling is actually raising from around 2.2 meters at the back of the room to around 2.5 meters at the front. This is based on the original design of the garage, which had a sloped ceiling, and we decided to work with that and incorporate it into the cinema room design. With a 7.4.4 system, we've got 4 overhead speakers. In this case, they're the Bowers & Wilkins CCM 665s. With the ceiling itself being sloped, I had to be a little bit creative with the mounting of them. If we'd have mounted these straight into the dropped ceiling, the speakers at the front of the room would have been pointing away from the listening position. So I created the wooden frames with some MDF and then used some spacers to give us the horizontal finish that we needed. Here's a behind the scenes look at the frame that I created for the dropped ceiling and the designs that were to scale that I created in SketchUp. These were really helpful to help with positioning of speakers and other physical objects within the room size. As well as those 2 XTZ subs at the front of the room, of course this is a 7.4.4. So we also have 2 repurposed Bowers & Wilkins ASW 610 subs at the rear of the cinema room. So let's move on to the equipment rack. This is housed in that 1.5 meter utility room at the back of the cinema space. At the bottom we have a Yamaha P5000S power amplifier, which is powering those 2 now passive Bowers & Wilkins 10-inch subs. The Rotel amplifier is powering 2 of the height speakers, with the Marantz SR7011 powering all of the other speakers. This CYP 4x4 HD base T matrix gives us signal distribution around the rest of the house. Next up is a Panasonic Blu-ray player, the Xbox One S and an Apple TV, a Virgin Media set-top box, then some Sonos, the Harmony hub, and a very basic Zyxel network switch. The NAD CD player is currently not in use, but will be soon when I get time to rewire it. And right at the top is the EPSON 7200 projector. From the other side of the AV rack, you can see the projector coming through a discrete housing in the back of the wall. This is the EPSON TW7200 1080p projector, giving us the visuals for this room. So after installing and running the projector for a while, it was clear that there was a bit of a heat build-up. You can see on the front of that EPSON projector that the heat is coming out of the right-hand side, and that was building up in the utility room. So I built a small fan system using some MDF, a couple of small fan units, and a USB thermostat. So these now kick in automatically when that area of the room reaches a certain temperature. That then brings that excess heat back into the cinema room. For controlling the room, we have the Harmony Ultimate Remote with the Harmony Hub. This works really well and gives us some simple automation features thanks to the activities that you can program into the unit. Activate one of these activities and all of the relevant equipment in the cinema room will switch on. The EPSON projector is connected with its 12-volt trigger output to the input on the projector screen, so firing up the system means the screen will automatically drop. The screen we're using is a 92-inch Sapphire 16:9 screen. It's not a high-end screen, but it works well in this room and fitted the budget at the time of purchase. The projector housing was another custom element, just to make sure that when the projector screen wasn't in use, it would be nice and discreet and hidden away behind the housing. Another very simple automation feature is having the Harmony Ultimate to control the main lighting in the room. There are 10 LED spotlights, and now using the channel up and channel down buttons on the Harmony remote, we can control the lighting. These are running from a Vari-Light or Vari-Light light switch, which essentially can take in IR commands. So all we're doing is repurposing the IR commands from the remote to give us lights up or lights down.
Go where you please. Tango, tango. Tango, tango, we have engine failure.
Hey there folks, thanks for making it that far through the video. So I hope that's been useful to give you a bit of a room tour, showing how this started off as a standard garage, a single UK garage, and working its way through to the cinema room that you see now. So although it's not the biggest room in the world, as I've said in the video, it's about 2.2 meters wide by about 4.5 meters to the back wall you see behind me there with Mickey on it. So it's not the biggest space, but we've really made the most of it, in my opinion. You've been through the technology that's in here, of course we've spoken about that, but I thought I'd actually speak about how the room is when we're watching a movie, how we feel about it. And honestly, I'd say it's just such an immersive experience with Atmos 7.4.4. Obviously the 0.4 for a start, the first one. We've got plenty of bass in this room, but not overpowered. I'm somebody who likes things to sound very natural, very realistic. So although you could of course crank everything up, it's all very immersive and very integrated, very cohesive. So that's the 0.4 in terms of bass performance. It's very even and has got plenty of clout if we need it. The height channels of course add an extra layer of immersion with the 4 speakers, so 2 in front of me there, maybe about 3 foot roughly, 3 foot in front of me, and the other 2 behind us on the ceiling there, which are maybe about 1.5 to 2 foot behind the listening position. And when you sit and watch a film, it's, in my opinion, it's superb. You just get that real natural ambient sound. That's something I'm very keen on. I don't like to have all of the rear speakers, for example, cranked up so that it's very obvious where the sound is coming from. I do like a nice immersive natural sound. So things, I never like to think, oh, there's a speaker there, there's a speaker there. I just like to sit and watch the film and just be immersed by it and not think about the technology, not think that I'm running a projector, not think where all the speakers are. So again, I do feel we get that real natural immersive sound in the room here. To quickly touch on the acoustic panels as well, I had a few comments on one of the home theatre Facebook groups that these foam tiles just are not worth the money. I've got to say I disagree. Whilst proper acoustic panels would of course be better, these have actually made a really big difference in a relatively low cost, in fact a very low cost. So I'd say for me the difference has been the separation of the front channels, especially with stereo, is now better because we just had these plastered walls and in my opinion the sound was bouncing around everywhere. So stereo separation is a lot better. That I would say is the main thing. It's just a much better clarity now, and the system can go significantly louder without sounding harsh. Again, if you think these are all just plastered walls in a rectangular room, sound was bouncing everywhere. So I did the mirror trick and put sort of first reflection and then a bit further down as well for various positions, and it's a big difference. And these cost us probably no more than about £60 UK pounds, so very inexpensive. I think that kind of covers it. As I say, it's just a very comfortable room, really enjoyable experience to watch films, very immersive, especially since upgrading to Atmos maybe a year, 2 years ago, and just constantly tweaking the room to make it sound better and better, and we are absolutely thrilled with it. So that'll be me signing off. Again, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe. If you've got any questions about the room, the equipment in it, just feel free to drop a comment in the comments below. Just to very touch on as well, future upgrades, I would love to get an acoustically transparent screen and 3 of the Bowers and Wilkins cinema series. I'll put a picture on now. I can't remember the model number, 7.4s I think. I'd love to upgrade to 3 of those across the front soundstage with an acoustically transparent screen. But maybe that'll be an update for a future video. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Really hope you've enjoyed it, and take care.